Amazon outage yesterday meant more than people not being able to shop for gifts or get deliveries. Some people could not access banking services, school programs, or apps like DoorDash or Netflix. Amazon Web Services, which is the cloud network for Amazon, says the issue was centralized to just one region here on the East Coast. The company says the problem was resolved at about 4:30 yesterday.
And there were certainly all kinds of problems, though. Users were tweeting they were locked out of their homes or their cameras weren't working and their alarms couldn't be shut off. So what can we learn from this for the next time something like this happens? QUINNIPLAC Cybersecurity Program Director Dr. Fred SCHOLL is joining us right now at 6 to help us out and give us some advice. Thank you very much for being here. Let me ask you first, why did so many apps that are not owned by Amazon go down yesterday?
Well, that's a good question. What's happened is over the last 10 or 15 years, businesses have gotten started, things like DoorDash, like Uber, like Netflix, and they did not build or set up their own computer systems. Instead, they contracted that work out to companies like Amazon, AWS, or Microsoft or Google. So a lot of services, including banking services, healthcare services, they're dependent on these three other companies for communication services. So to some extent, we've gotten the benefit of all the new services, but we've gotten the risk maybe that we're not always aware of, that these services can go down either accidentally or they can be attacked by malicious outsiders or insiders.
I think it can be confusing because I think people hear Amazon, so they just assume, the shopping arm of the company. But this AWS, explain a little of what that is, because like you just said, it's kind of an internet cloud service company, right?
Exactly. So Amazon has its retail, shopping, bookstore. That's one aspect. An equally big part of that business is AWS, Amazon Web Services, and it's grown up to be gigantic over the last 10 years or so, and it provides computer services to other companies that don't want to buy, set up, and manage their own computers. So they have a contract with AWS, and they set up and run the computers. So the good news is you can get a business started without buying any computers yourself. You just sign a contract with AWS. The challenge is then we have so many other businesses depending on them and these other cloud security vendors or service vendors that an outage can affect a lot more people than just AWS.
And that really is my last question for you. What can people do? So many of us have smart homes now. Is there anything we can do to protect ourselves? Not really if, but when it happens again.
Yes, so I think the takeaway from this is to just realize that all these services that we depend on day to day are not 100% reliable. They might look reliable, but they're not. So print out your bank records. I don't want to be an alarmist, but keep don't run on an empty tank of gas, keep extra food, not being alarmist, but we saw the Colonial Pipeline got shut down. So just use common sense to be aware that these services can easily go down.
Well, common sense is a good thing to keep in mind. Dr. Fred SCHOLL from QUINNIPLAC University. Yep. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Have a good evening.